Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 8 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. And since it's a weekly collection, always be pretty fluid in terms of team trends. However, there will always be little nuggets of truth that could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this game between the Panthers and the Bucs. So right off the bat, most of the overall data, the NFL stat basic comparison data, favors the Panthers. And again, NFL stat-based comparison is just how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, special teams, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into some reasons why. So the reasons why the Panthers are so heavily, I wouldn't say heavily favored, but they are favored, is one, because of the defense. It's mostly defensive based. The Panthers have a better defense in terms of preventing points, in terms of the defensive offensive score percentage. The Panthers are favored there. The Panthers are also favored when it comes to sack percentage. The Panthers have a 98.90 sack percentage, and the Bucs have a .31 sack percentage. And there are some similarities here. The Panthers and the Bucs have very similar offenses. The Panthers have a 74.96 offensive score percentage, and the Bucs have a 74.17. So very even in terms of their offense, but the Panthers have a slightly better defense, which is why they're favored. So that is kind of the big reason why they're favored. But the Bucs do have some areas where they have some advantages. One, turnover ratio. Panthers have been very bad in terms of giving up the football, creating turnovers, picks, fumbles, all that kind of stuff. Issues, very big issues for the Panthers. And the Bucs have not been amazing when it comes to turnover percentage, but they have been better. On top of that, sack percentage. The Bucs have allowed less sacks overall than the Panthers this year. The Panthers have been giving up a lot of sacks. So from that kind of perspective, that's where the issues lie. Is even though the Panthers have offense that can put up points and they have a better defense, turnovers and sacks can really turn the tide of games. The reason why the Bears won that game was because they capitalized on the turnovers, they capitalized on the sacks, they capitalized on all those things that matter to winning football games. So I'm not saying the Bucs have no shot of winning this game, because they do. Based on how both these teams have played over the course of the year, it would say that the Panthers are favored because of that, but you can't deny that the Bucs do have a chance because of their offense not turning the football over, because of their ability to prevent sacks, and because the Panthers have not been able to do those things. Now, keep in mind that the Bucs have a really bad historically bad ability to pressure the quarterback, sack the quarterback, anything related to getting to the quarterback. The Bucs have not been able to do that. So that is definitely an issue to consider. On top of that, though, the Bucs do create more turnovers on defense, so there is that silver lining. I mean, the Panthers have really created almost no turnovers thus far. I mean, not a lot anyways. And the Bucs have been better in terms of creating turnovers, in terms of interceptions. But from that perspective, again, it's just hard to really say. The Panthers do have a better defense. They do have a really high sack percentage. But I will say the Bucs will have a chance to win this game because the Panthers continue to have a bad issue with turnovers and a bad issue with sacks. And even though the overall data does favor the Panthers, I'm just going to reiterate that I would not be surprised if the Bucs win this game if the Panthers continue to play like they played against the Bears, like they played against the Saints, where they just implode on offense and the defense is just not strong enough to really recover from that. Because they really aren't. Because if the offense turns the football over, the Panthers have not shown to fight back. Like, the Panthers on defense have not shown the ability to get picks in their favor. So when you have that situation where the offense coughs up the football and your defense isn't able to match that and get their own turnover, you have issues. So from that aspect, but again, overall data does favor them. Now, when you get to special teams, punt return yardage, kick return yardage, more so in favor of the Bucs. Defensive punt return yardage, defensive kick return yardage, more so in favor of the Panthers. Field goal percentage, more so with the Panthers, which I think is a big fact. If this is a close game, if it's like a field goal different game, the Panthers are probably going to win because of that field goal percentage. So if the Bucs are going to beat them, they really need to beat them with touchdowns, not field goals. Then you look at punting average, more so favors the Panthers, and extra point percentage more so favors the Panthers. The overall data favors the Panthers, but I do think there's a chance that the Bucs can win this game if they are able to capitalize on turnovers and capitalize on sacks that they have. Maybe not sacks, because they haven't been able to sack the quarterback, but they should be able to capitalize on turnovers at the very least, because the Bucs have shown the ability to create some turnovers. So, I mean, we'll see, but that is the basic sort of gist, I guess, of making an argument for the Bucs. I would say that is how they would have to beat the Panthers, is to do that. Now, when you get to other sort of matchups, so this is completion percentage data for the Panthers versus the Bucs. In terms of completions. The overall data favors the Panthers here over the Bucs in that kind of regard. Then, of course, you look at the completion percentage of the Bucs versus the Panthers in that particular area. Bucs are favored here for the most part in terms of completion percentage data as well. Then you get to running down, so rushing down. So this is the Panthers rushing offense versus the Bucs rushing defense. Mostly favors the Panthers on second and third down. Then you get to the Bucs rushing offense versus the Panthers rushing defense. Mostly favors the Panthers rushing defense. The Panthers have a very good rushing defense when it comes to situational football. Not the best on first down. I think that's the one area where I think the Bucs will catch them off guard a bit. But in terms of crucial situations, preventing third down, second down situations, that is where the Panthers thrive. And that's also an area where the Bucs have had issues. So I do think that this mostly favors the Panthers in that respect. Then, of course, you get to passing down. So this is the Panthers passing offense versus the Bucs passing defense. Mostly favors the Panthers here on first and third down. The Bucs have the worst third down passing defense in the NFL in terms of the ability to prevent first downs from being converted in third down situations. Then you get to the Bucs passing offense versus the Panthers passing defense. And if there's one thing I could say about the Bucs have had issues with turnovers. The Bucs have had issues in terms of they just have had some issues with efficiency, but they have been one of the better teams in the NFL when it comes to converting on first down, second down, and third down with the pass. So for all the issue, all the stuff about Jameis Winston, I mean, I'm not going to go too much into this, but Jameis has been playing well in terms of those aspects. He's not been playing well in terms of turnovers. He's not been playing well in terms of all those other sort of things. But he has been playing well, at least when it comes to converting on first, second, and third down with the pass. He has been delivering in terms of those particular aspects of the position. So you should praise him at least for those things. Then you get to sack downs. This is the Panthers offense versus the Bucs defense when it comes to sacks. And this more so favors the Panthers here. The Bucs just do not create any sacks at all on defense for the most part. So I'd be very surprised if they are able to sack Cam Newton, because they just have been so bad this year in terms of creating sacks. It's just not good. Then you get to sack rate for the Bucs versus the Panthers, and mostly favors the Panthers here in terms of first, second, and third down. Those are the areas that the Panthers really succeed. So the Panthers will be able to get some, I do think the Panthers will be able to get some pressure, get some sacks. I do think that that's something that actually is going to happen, because that's the only aspect of the Panthers defense that does anything well. And I do think that they'll show up in this game because of the advantages here. And then you get to interception ratio. This is the Panthers offense versus the Bucs defense when it comes to interceptions. Mostly favors the Bucs defense in terms of first down and third down situations. Almost all the picks that the Bucs have been able to generate have been on first down. So that's the down that they have to capitalize on. And then finally, you look at the Bucs offense versus the Panthers defense in terms of interceptions, and this more so favors the Bucs in that respect in terms of that. So, Yeah, so that is the overall data. So how do I feel about this game? I don't feel the best about this game because of how poorly the Panthers played. The Panthers, the Panthers have a blueprint this season. If you are able to get them to turn the football over a lot, they don't know how to recover. They don't have a defense that can actually create turnovers to turn the tide of football games. So for all the mistakes that Cam Newton makes and all the mistakes that this offense makes, they do not have a defense that can compensate for the mistakes that he makes. So if you're able to do that, if you're able to get Cam Newton to make a bunch of mistakes, to turn the football over, to do all that kind of stuff, which is a tall task for the Panthers because the Panthers, the Bucs, it's a tall task for the Bucs defense because the Bucs have not been able to sack the quarterback. The Bucs have not been able to create a lot of turnovers. So from that aspect, that's kind of why I lean towards the Panthers, despite the fact that there is a blueprint to beat the Panthers. There is. You've seen it with the Saints. You've seen it with the Bears. That is there. But I just don't see that in this game because of the issues that you have, with the Bucs defense. So the Bucs defense, there's no other way to say it. The Bucs defense has to capitalize on this game. You're going up against a quarterback that has had tons of issues with turnovers, tons of issues in terms of giving up sacks. Like, you are struggling to get turnovers. You're struggling to get sacks. Like, there's no better quarterback to play to improve. And if you don't have that type of game, if you don't create a lot of turnovers in this game, if you don't create a lot of interceptions or turnovers in this game, then that shows a problem. That is a legit problem at that point. So that's my overall feelings about the game. I have to go Panthers here just because I don't have a ton of faith in the Bucs defense. There is a blueprint for the Bucs. I just don't think they'll be able to execute it. So, of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at giraffecoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.